Hey, what's up everybody? So today I have a really special treat for all of you and also a treat for me. I have a very special guest here who needs no introduction, and yet I have the complete honor and privilege of doing so anyway. We have Mr. Bill Farmer.
It's a pleasure to be here. From Goofy, Wars, great to be here.
So you, gosh, where do I even start with you? This is such an amazing. Oh look,
hello.
And of course there are dogs.
Yes,
in the dog
there's
house.
dogs all over the Goofy's house. And this is Max.
His name's Max too. Like,
Yes.
how much more appropriate can you get? Bill, you've been doing this 1986.
Yes.
Wow, you've been at this for a while. Can you tell me what it is like to take over the mantle of such a legendary, well-known character that so many people have embraced and grown up with over time, and then to suddenly be in this position?
Well, Goofy was my favorite Disney character when I was growing up. So I guess that's why I practiced the voice and kind of got down the laugh and stuff, because I always impersonated characters that I saw on television when I was a kid. I had no idea how big it was when I got the audition, because there's no, big Hollywood contract, you're now the voice of Goofy forever. It was for one show back called Disney's Doggone Valentines in the January of 1987. And I didn't know if I'd do it again, a second time, a third time. And as a freelance actor, I'm not a Disney employee. I'm just kind of like the plumber. When they have a job, I come in, I bark, I go home. And now I've done, about 3,500 shows over the years.
Wait, so at what point down that line did you know, okay, I'm Goofy?
Probably took about a good year to really figure out, okay, this is pretty steady. They don't seem to be dissatisfied with me. I don't think they're going to replace me. So after about a year, I felt pretty comfortable.
Do you find now that you put a little bit of yourself into Goofy, or that Goofy himself is a little bit of you in every life?
Yeah, that's our other dog. Definitely. We kind of melded into one. I blame Goofy with all the stupid things that I do.
Must be nice to have a scapegoat.
It is. I'm Goofy. What can I,
Sorry about
I haven't had to do that with the police yet, Sorry, officer, I'm Goofy. I don't know if that would work or not.
I think that's a free get out
I'm
of jail.
certainly I hope so.
And so, speaking of everyday scenarios, one question I have to know, I absolutely have to
Yes.
know. Do you order as Goofy in the drive-thru?
I don't generally. The closest to that, in line at Disneyland.
Oh.
If there's like some kid that's like sleepy on his dad's shoulder or something, we're standing there at Pirates of the Caribbean, and just to waste time, and the kid's like, I'll go, hey, Aldi, and then the kid will like, Goofy, where's Goofy? And then I never tell him where. It just drives.
Just the voice of the Goof coming from
Daddy, I heard Goofy. No, Goofy's not here. Go to sleep.
How do you go about learning to be Goofy? Like, how does one take on the persona of the Goof?
Well, when I had my first audition, of course I was familiar with him for all of those years of watching The Wonderful World of Color and Disney on television, but the actual audition was a very short process. They gave me a cassette with some of the lines from the classic cartoons Boat Builders, Lonesome Ghosts, the 1930s Goofy, which is quintessentially classic Goofy.
That's when he became Goofy.
Exactly. And so I only had one weekend to study those lines, and I went in on a Monday to my agents and just laid them down, getting as close as I could to Pinto Colvig's rendition of Goofy, and we sent it off. It wasn't like, and you kind of do auditions and you forget about them because there's so much competition in Hollywood. You never know if you're going to get a call back or a job. And it was about a month and a half later when they said, hey, they would like to use you as the voice, at least on this one, project. And hey, that's great. It's terrifying doing it.
I was about to say,
it was terrifying, the first job, because I hadn't been in a modern recording studio. I'd been a DJ before, so I was familiar with mic work and recording, but never, and to picture. It was actually looping a piece of an old Goofy cartoon. So I was watching it and trying to do the lip flaps and make sure it looked like Goofy was saying the new line. And I got through that fairly quickly, and I hope that's good. And they called me the next month, and again, got to do it, and again and again and again.
And you didn't even get a warm-up character. Like, you went straight to a legend. Like, there was just no, oh, let me try it out for, you know.
No, just right to the top. And my favorite Disney character.
And if you're going to do it, I guess that's how you do it. But I also know that you voice many characters.
Yes.
And Goofy's not the only Fab Five member that you voice.
Yes, Pluto, who doesn't get as much PR because it's limited in the fact that Goofy talks and Pluto doesn't. There's Pluto. But I get paid for barking.
So tell me a little bit, so one of the questions that is floating out there on the internet, obviously, is the dichotomy between Goofy and Pluto.
Yes.
So, speaking as the foremost expert in the world,
right.
How is that relationship? How do they communicate with each other?
Goofy talks to Pluto like he's a person and probably doesn't understand why he can't understand what Pluto says. Or she's talking in dog. You know, that's a fairly simple answer with that.
And I'll take it. I'm satisfied with that answer. I looked up some of the other characters that you played with, and another personal favorite of mine is Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah, for Warner Brothers. I've done a lot of Mel Blanc's voices over the years. I've done Bugs and Daffy and Foghorn and Sylvester and Yosemite Sam over the years, and not steadily, just kind of hit or miss here. I did Bugs Bunny last week with Seth Green on Robot Chicken. But Foghorn's my favorite Warner Brothers character.
Really?
Because he's a big chicken. He's very loud and boisterous. Likes to hear his own voice.
You know.
That's glorious.
I quite often voice in a loop group, which is a group of actors that add ancillary characters, little bits of business in a nearly completed movie. Going back to Beauty and the Beast and Hunchback of Notre Dame, you know, Tarzan, Pocahontas, Toy Story 2, Bugs Life, Monsters Inc., Monsters University. Most recently in, not for Disney, but the Minions. I'm doing some background voices in that. But you get to do strange characters. In Toy Story, I'm like the Mission Control when they're at the Pizza Planet. T-minus 29, 28, 27. Little incidental voices that aren't any of the main characters. In Beauty and the Beast, when Gaston is singing in the bar about, you know, decorating with antlers and stuff, he throws 3 eggs up in the air, and that's me. I'm eggs.
You're eggs.
And no one knows that.
We do now.
That's right.
We know, and we're gonna run into each other in public. Like, someone's gonna say, "Hey, I watched that video."
But eggs is on his resume.
So you've got this repertoire. You've got this arsenal of voices that you've done over the years. What's been your absolute favorite to do?
Oh gosh, well, of animated characters, I've always enjoyed, it's got to be Goofy. He was my favorite Disney character.
Of course.
Other voices I've done is like the Sheriff of Nottingham, who was voiced by Pat Buttram originally. And he's got a kind of a character, used to play like Mr. Haney on Green Acres. His last movie was a Goofy movie. I got to talk with him, and he passed away a few months later, and he was telling us jokes, and he was like 84 years old, and he was I didn't have the heart to do my voice for him, but it was fun talking to him.
What advice would you give someone looking to get into the voice acting industry or looking to find a way in that career?
Well, I teach students all the time via Skype across the country and here just at the house one-on-one, and produce demos for people to want to get in this business. The main thing is perseverance. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes a long time to get going because there's a tremendous amount of competition. There's roughly a couple of 100,000 Screen Actors Guild members in Los Angeles, and on any given week there's maybe 10,000 jobs available. So that means there's a lot of waiters and waitresses out there.
But they're doing great voice work.
Absolutely. And this is kind of like coming out of high school and joining the NBA. You're competing against some of the best voiceover artists in the world. Your skills have to be up to that level to really make a dent. Now, there's always room and for talented people, and I tell my son, you just got to follow your dreams. There is a curse with Goofy.
Oh.
It is, we have melded into this one character, and as I've mentioned before, I blame Goofy for things that go wrong.
Of course.
2 stories come to mind with that. I was putting up Christmas lights one year, and I think, probably doing the Goofy voice. I was in sweatpants, I stepped down off the ladder, stepped backward, my foot hit the riser on our lawn sprinkler system. I was falling backwards into a rose bush. Now that's silly enough, but not goofy enough. So the first rose bush grabbed and pulled down my pants. I fell bare-butted into the second rose bush. And that is the Goofy curse.
That is real life Goofy. Anybody who's ever done Goofy has the Goofy curse?
I don't know, but
Or do
I
you
do.
think? Okay, all right. I want to leave the audience with a little words of wisdom from Goofy, if you wouldn't mind. If Goofy were to encourage them to just live a fruitful life, how would he do that?
Gorge, if you fall off a mountain, just get right back up there on the top. And don't give up.
Guess what? I'm never going to give up ever now. That's it for me.
Good advice to live by.
Bill, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me and with Thingamavlogs out there. This has been a really special experience for me, not just as as a journalist, but as just a person. This has really been amazing. So thank you for that. And yeah, thank you for all your work over the years.
Well, for me, thank you so much, and from Goofy, Gorge, thanks for showing up.
You're my favorite.
Thanks. Here's a letter from Bob Iger. Let me know that I had been selected to be a Disney legend. Here are my handprints on, this is at the wall on the Legends Plaza at the Disney Studios. Over here, a Disney Legends Award from the National Fantasy Fan Club and their award as a Disney legend. This I'm very proud of. This is an Annie Award, which I won this last January for Goofy's Grandma, one of the new Mickey Mouse shorts that we have that you can see on YouTube and at the Disney websites and everything. Here, right in dead center is the award, the Disney Legend Award, which I'm so honored. In 2009, I was inducted as their Disney Legend of that year, along with Robin and Betty and everybody else.
Can we touch that?
Sure.
Oh, I'm touching a Disney Legend statue.